Another kind of attack is called SQL injection, and that can occur when you have, for instance, a login form and you get login and password, and then you build an SQL statement out of these pieces of data and send it directly to the database. Let me show you how it works. Let's make a little form, a login form, where we will ask for a login and password. So first of all, we need a form. There's the beginning of our form. Here's the end of the form. And then we need a box to type in. Let's see, type equals input. No. Type equals text. Name is, let's say, user. So there's a little box for the user, and now we need the same thing for the password. Okay. Type should be password, of course, so you can't see it. Then we need a button. Type submit. And it should be called login, for instance. So let's see if we can show this form on the screen. Yes. Let's call it user and login. Wait. User and password. Okay. So there's our little form. We have to take this off of here and put this over here like this. There's our form. Now we have a table in the database. If you installed XAMPP at the beginning of this DVD video, then you have under localhost phpMyAdmin, you have your database. Let's go into our test database and create a table called users with 3 fields. Let's have an ID field, which will be int, and let's see, ID fields are always auto-increment key. Good. User, varchar 50, let's say. Password, varchar 50, let's say, and save that. Save. And now we have this database table, and now we're going to insert some data into it. Don't need to type in an ID. Let's say Jim, password is cat11, and Bob, and his password is dog22. So now we have these 2 users in our database. Good. Now let's try to log in as them. First, we need to do a little bit more logic programming here. Basically, we need to look in the database after we get the user and password information from the form, build the SQL line, and then look in the database to see if what the user typed in is actually in the database. So let's do that. So at the top, we say user equals post, get the data out of the post, out of the form post here. User equals that, and password equals password. Super. And now basically, if user does not equal nothing and password does not equal nothing, or in other words, if they typed in anything, then let's process it. So let's make a database object, MySQL I connect. Okay, what do we want to connect to? Localhost, and we have an open database here for development root, and the database table is called test. Super. No, the database is named test. The database table is named users. Okay, now we need to build our SQL statement. SQL equals select star from users where user equals, let's see here. I'm going to use double quotes so that I can use single quotes inside. User equals single quotes, user, double quotes, single quotes, and password equals single quotes and double quotes, password, okay, double quotes, single quotes inside, and like that. That should be it. Let's just see how we're doing here. So go to our form, reload, Jim, cat, 11, no, never for the site. And our SQL statement is select star from users where user equals Jim and password equals cat11. That's exactly what we want. Let's do the rest. We need to send this to the database. So result equals MySQL I query, and then send the database object and the SQL object. Super. And then after we get the result back, we need to see if there are any rows in it. If there are, then we know that he's been logged in. So SQLi number of rows in the result, number of rows in the result is greater than 0, then, well, he logged in all right. So say login succeeded for user. Super. Okay, otherwise, else, echo login failed. Okay, that should be enough. So now let's see if that works. I forgot the passwords already. Cat 11, dog 22 for Jim and Bob. Okay. Now let's do a new entry here. Jim, let's do it wrong first. Failed. And the SQL statement is echo here, echo SQL statement. Let breaks here just so that things look nicer. Okay, so now try it again. And Jim and anything. Login failed because the password is that. Okay. Jim cat 11. A login succeeded for user Jim. Okay, so we know that it's working. So now along comes a hacker, and he knows that there's a user Jim, let's say, and types in a, let's see, let me change this so that we have the ability to see the password as we type for the example here. Okay, so now we're a hacker. We know Jim is in there. We type in an apostrophe, and this is very interesting. It gets an error. Why does it get an error? Because the SQL statement is now incorrect, because there's too many apostrophes or single quotation marks here. Now, if a user sees something like this, he knows, maybe they're sending this data directly back to the database. So he tries something like this. He types in Jim, and then he types in apostrophe, space, or apostrophe equals apostrophe. Login succeeded for Jim. Why did the login succeed for Jim? Because the SQL statement is select from users where user equals Jim and password equals nothing or nothing equals nothing. And because nothing always equals nothing, this statement is true. And so Jim is logged in, even though we didn't give a valid password for Jim. And that's just the beginning. If a hacker knows that he can send any characters he wants back to your database, then there's all kinds of things that he can do, getting information out of the database or causing your database to perform 10 million operations per second or try to do that and thus crashing, etc. So the lesson learned is don't ever take data from an unknown source and send it directly to your database. You need to prepare it a bit. And let me give you one PHP function called add slashes that will pretty much protect you in most cases. Let's see how that works. Basically what you're going to do is just say user equals add slashes, post user, password equals add slashes. And you'll see what this does here when we log in again. So we have a hacker, Jim, puts an apostrophe in, and login failed. And what happened? It puts a backslash in front of the apostrophe. So if he tries his little hack, this one here, he gets login failed simply because password does not equal all of that.